people might all be us.
Get to talk first.
Whoa, we are live. See? Okay. This is all brand new to us. Let's start. All right. How do all good YouTubers start? Why don't you move over here into the frame? What do? We do, hey guys, it's Jesse and your boy Avi coming to you live from the home office. We've never done this before. This is all brand new to us. We've never done a live video, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever done a video?
I've never. This is my first actual video.
Amazing. First actual video. So, we had to switch gears a little bit, and, you know, we're all kind of playing it by ear, but the goal for this this session is to really just dip our toes into the whole programming world of Python. We're going to be using the really fun medium of Raspberry Pi, fun hardware of Raspberry Pi, and a medium of Minecraft, which I think most little people are familiar with these days.
Yeah.
So we're going to start from scratch, and this is going to be a learning process. I don't think any of us know how it's going to go, but we're certainly going to do our best. So for this, we're using a Pi 3. You can get Pi 4s now, which are a little more powerful, but we're going to start with this Pi 3. We've got a couple set up over here. We've got our big screen TV that he's connected to, and we're going to just start by explaining our setup. And yeah, you ready to start turning some screws?
Yeah.
All right.
So I am right here, and first
Yes,
off,
you are.
well, so first off, we have a keyboard that's connected to our Raspberry Pi, which is hooked up to a big TV, which you can see the screen of, but it's right over here. We got a mouse, and that's pretty much our setup. We have the Raspberry Pi hooked up to power, and we've updated it, and it's pretty much ready to go.
All right. I would like to jump in here and just talk a minute about the Pi itself. So if you've not seen a Raspberry Pi, hopefully you've got one. If not, they're easy to get off of Amazon. The beautiful thing about this hardware is, number one, it's cheap. I think they're around $30 or so. They run off of an SD card, and actually specifically they run off of a micro SD card. So we've created this micro SD card with, we're knocking cameras over already. It's party time. We've created this micro SD card by going to raspberrypi.org and navigating to the download section. And we're just using the standard Raspbian desktop version. It's important we use the desktop version because we need the Minecraft Pi program installed. So once you've done that, I'm skipping that step because it's pretty easy. You can always put comments or send a comment for this recorded video, and I'd be happy to send you the instructions on how to do that. But we're going to operate under the assumption that we've got a working SD card, only because it takes quite a while to actually burn it. So that being said, we've loaded it into the Pi, into the little SD card slot here. We power it up with a micro USB cable, and yeah, we're ready to go. So let's have Avi kind of get us rolling on this.
So first thing that you're going to do is you're going to click on this little Raspberry Pi icon here, and it'll come up with all of these. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your games section, and down here there's Minecraft Pi. You're going to click on that, and it's going to open up like this, you're going to want to minimize it and kind of put it up here in the corner so you can decide where you want it. You're going to need some more room on your desktop, but you're going to just create a field, and then you're going to kind of just leave Minecraft alone for a little bit. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to click on the pie icon again, and you're going to go to Programming, and you're going to go all the way down to Thonny Python IDE. And then we're going to wait for that to open up. So,
and we're sitting on the floor because our workspace is completely consumed by dad work.
So when your Minecraft world loads up, you're going to be connected to that, and you can't quite get to this area right here. So you're going to hit the tab button on your keyboard, which will disconnect your mouse from Minecraft. And if you want to enter Minecraft at any point, you can go over onto it and just click on it, and you'll be able to look around and move around using the keyboard controls. We're going to start in here, and we're going to start by...
So let's just slow down a little bit and make sure that our audience has time to kind of catch up and stay current with us. So what have we talked about already? We've opened Minecraft, right?
We've opened Minecraft.
We've opened Minecraft. We've navigated around it a little bit. Mm-hmm. We've opened Thonny Python. And Thonny Python is what? It's
where we're going to be doing all of our coding that we're then going to send to Minecraft.
Okay. So, do you know what that thing is called?
No.
Did you notice when you opened it up what it said? Go to open it up again and see if you can. I'd like to just explain it to you and maybe everyone else. So let's leave it right here. So it's called what? Thonny Python IDE. You know what that means?
I do not.
It means Integrated Development Environment. So what this is or Integrated Development Editor is also what it's called. So the editor is there to actually write our code and run our code. And the nice thing about this, it's an editor specifically for Python, which means it should be able to tell us right away if we're doing things correctly or if we're not. Good IDEs will be color-coded, which is really helpful for programmers.
And it's going to color-code it into purple. And then you're going to do a space. Spacing is really weird when you're coding with Minecraft.
It's also really important with Python.
Sure. You're going to write from mcpi dot Minecraft.
And that, you brought this up earlier. I noticed you're doing this in lowercase.
Oh, yeah.
Is that important?
It is important, because our mcpi file, the name of it is lowercase. We didn't name it so that it's uppercase. So, well, it's already named. The mcpi file on the Raspberry Pi is already named Minecraft lowercase. But what you want to do is you want to write from mcpi.minecraft to... Wait.
Do you remember?
I don't remember what it is.
I don't either. Let's figure it out.
Hey.
Isn't it import?
Oh, yeah. Import. And then capital Minecraft. Okay, and then after you do that, we're going to make a variable that tells it that MC equals, and we're going to do a space between the MC, the equals, and what's next? Capital Minecraft. Basically saying whenever we type MC in our code here, it'll know that it means the MCPI Minecraft.
And do we know what MCPI is? Maybe we can talk a little bit about what is happening here, because this is important Python stuff in general. But every Python user should know this. So line 1 is a library call, meaning MCPI is the Minecraft Pi library used in Python. And we're pulling a module out of that library called Minecraft. So this is specific to Minecraft. It's importing this library, and we're turning this library into an object. So this is maybe a big idea, but think of I don't know.
Think of an actual
calling
library.
A character from a video game or something, saying, I want to use Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. That's what we're doing here. And now we're saying MC is equal to Minecraft. So from now on, MC is the way that we
are going to write Minecraft.
That's right.
So the first thing that we're going to kind of hack into Minecraft is there's a chat in Minecraft. And we can write in our code here, and we can make it so that whatever we write in our code can appear in the Minecraft chat.
Do you know how to write the chat without the code?
I'm pretty sure you cannot in Minecraft Pi.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
You
so
have to code it for Minecraft.
We're going to do what they say can't be done.
Well, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you can only code it.
Okay.
But I'm not 100%.
Well, then let's code it.
So what we're going to do first is we're going to say MC, which means Minecraft now, dot post, not capitalized, to chat. And you want to make sure that to chat is capitalized.
Okay. You know what? This has a funny name. This is a good place to bring this up. This is called camel case. And the reason it's called camel case is because the capitalization works just like a camel's humps. So when you have the first word is always going to be lowercase because it's a little more aesthetically pleasing and it's actually easier to see with your eyes. But to create the separation between the words inside of a call like this, you capitalize the first letter. So it's called camel case.
And so,
did you know that?
I did not know that.
Huh?
So a very common way to kind of test to see if your code is working is to say hello world. So that's what we're going to do right here. We're going to do an open
Bracket?
An open bracket.
Parentheses?
Yeah. An open parenthesis. An open quotation mark, and say hello world. And then we're going to do close quotation marks, closed parentheses. And you'll notice that the hello world is green, which means it doesn't have any effect on the code. It's just what is going to appear in the chat.
Oh, that's another good point. It actually means that this is now something that's called a string or a character string, meaning it actually in itself is it's like an object now. It's called a string. It's like words.
Yeah. And so that is that line of code written, so we can hit the enter key, and then we're going to save this, and we're going to call it Minecraft Live.
Cool. Love that name.
So now you can see on this, it's called minecraftlive.py. And so we can hit run now. And this came up.
I know why we got that.
Why did we get this?
We got it before, if you remember.
Oh yeah.
So hold on. Before we move on, we're just gonna take a beat. So like every good presentation, we did not prepare too much of this, but we did run through our code a little bit, and we ran into this exact problem.
Yeah.
I purposefully let us fail because these are fun steps.
I kind of was doing that too. Yeah.
Okay. So the reason is we didn't actually import the libraries, this MCPI library that we need for Minecraft. So, do you remember how to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of.
Let's talk our way through it. Okay, so start from the beginning of this because it's important for our audience. You know, we have a lot of people watching, I hope, and those people are going to need to know how we did this. So go ahead and close that window.
So that window that I just opened was the terminal window. And so you'll see up here you have your Raspberry Pi, your web browser, your file manager, and then you'll have your terminal. So what you're going to want to do is you want to open your terminal window, and you can bring it over here so that you can actually see. And this is kind of where you can edit your Pi a little bit. And Dad's gonna show us, well, my dad is gonna show us how to make it so that the MCPI file works.
Did you say Dad is going to show us?
Yes, I did say that.
I love it. Okay. You're actually going to show him. I'm just going to tell you how.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is something that lives in here called pip. And pip is a way for your hardware to go out and find all the stuff it needs. So all you have to do is with this window open, you're going to type pip space install MCPI.
Yep.
Just like that. Now it's going to go reach out into the interwebs. It's going to say, I need this thing.
Looked at its indexes.
Oh, we need to do, maybe we need to do that install Python 3.
Oh, yeah.
Did we do that?
We did that on the other one.
On the other one, right, but not on this one. So let's do that. Okay. So you're going to do sudo, sudo. This is super user do, meaning this is like the biggest permissions in the whole thing. Space, apt, apt, dash, or minus, get, space, install. Let's look at our spelling there. There you go.
So good at this.
Making up languages. Space, Python 3.
I think we did do that earlier, didn't we?
Why don't you do this? There's a trick with the operating system on a Raspberry Pi is Linux. There's a trick with Linux. I'm just going to hit the up arrow, and you'll see that it adds the last command that I did. If I keep hitting up, it's gonna keep repeating, going to the next last command. So now we're going to back up here, and we're going to do this sudo apt get update. And what this is going to do is it's going to go look at all of our packages and make sure that our package repositories are all current. Sometimes it takes a minute to run, but luckily we have time. Avi knows a lot of really good jokes, so he's going to fill in right now with one of those.
Okay, so I think this might be my funniest joke. Well, it's the one that everybody likes. So a guy he's walking down the street, and he walks into a library, and he walks up to the librarian and says, "I'd like a hamburger, please." And the librarian says, "Hey, you know this is a library, right?" And the guy says, "Oh, sorry. I'd like a hamburger, please."
That is the best one. Okay. All right. So now we've done our sudo apt get update. You'll see now it's finished, and it goes and tells us that it fetched some stuff. So now let's use this up arrow again, and let's try installing this MCPI again. We're going to see how good we are at troubleshooting. Hopefully. Nope, we get the same problem. Requirement already satisfied. Right, we have it there.
So maybe it already...
Let's try this. Here, I'm gonna do this. I think maybe pip3. There we go.
Now it's working. Okay.
Cool. Okay, so let's back up. This is such important programming stuff right here, because, oops, I'm gonna kill my computer. Because when we're writing code like this and we're running these projects, we don't always know how they're going to behave. So it's important to enter these with the mindset that we're going to go get it fixed, right? We're not going to get it fixed. We're going to fix it ourselves. So it's okay to try things. Very rarely are you going to break it all the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can always fix it for the most part. Okay, so now we've done this. We did this just to see the command again. We did this pip3 install mcpi. Now, the difference is you could see the error that we got before was had everything to do with Python 2. So it said requirement already satisfied mcpi in userlib Python 2.7. But we're not using 2.7, we're using Python 3. It's not important to know that, I guess, any further than right now, but that explains what we did here, right? Cool. All right, so now we should be okay. And do we want to try to run our command again?
Okay.
Is that where we're at?
So we can just close this window, and we're going to go back here, and we're just going to try running it again.
Fingers crossed. Click it again. I don't think it worked.
Still says it's just missing stuff.
mc.post to chat. Can you right click there and see if we can clear the window? Clear. Okay, run it again because we are getting an error. It says trace back. Okay. Go down. Missing mc.post to chat. Type error post to chat missing one required positional something. So let's look at our code example.
One positional argument.
Can I see where it is in our study stuff? Can I see the whole thing? Now we're cheating. Oh, we're cheating in a good way. Can I see that too? mc.post to chat. Hello world. Oh, we didn't have the page before this. I can't get out of this.
Should we try using our other Pi because it was working better?
No, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna figure it out because that's what we're here to do. It's good to fail on even the simple stuff because then we know. Okay. I know what we did. Well, I do now because I looked at the documentation. The devil's in the details, right? So do you see?
Oh yeah, I forgot the MCPI map. How?
It's on line 2. Right there.
Yeah.
Okay. The problem is we called this module, but we didn't actually run the method for it, right?
So what I forgot to do was I forgot to write mc equals minecraft.create.
And not just create, but we have to call it as a method. So we have to put the open and close parentheses right after. That means we're actually kind of calling a little program here. It's creating this object, which is good. So do we need to save it before we run it?
Sweet.
Okay, save. Run that thing, man. Hey! High five!
So
You're a
now
coder.
in our Minecraft you can see that in the chat it opened up and it said hello world. So that means that we told the program to say to Minecraft, oh hey, say hello world in the chat.
Amazing. Now we're saying hello world.
Yeah. So another thing that we can do is we can actually teleport.
Is that the next thing that we were doing?
Well.
Or were we gonna
We're doing two things right now.
Okay.
So we're finding the player's position, and then we're gonna teleport the player somewhere else.
Hold on. Before we move on, let's just run through a little review of what you've done so far, and just go line by line maybe to talk about what it's doing.
So on line 1 here, we've told the Raspberry Pi that we need to. What would you say?
What would you say?
I would say that we have pretty much told the Raspberry Pi that we need to tell the MCPI of Minecraft, and we pretty much need to turn it into a variable.
We need to import the library.
Yeah.
Right? We need to tell the system that it has to use this pre-built set of instructions, that's called a library, fittingly. And yeah, we need to make sure that it knows where that is and what it's called.
And then on the second line here, we made a variable that said that when we write the two letters M and C, that basically means that we're telling it that it needs to get ready to create something in Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
And then on this third line, we actually did something to the game, and we said that we wanted to post to the chat, "Hello world."
Indeed we did. Okay, so let's take a break here, and do we have any housekeeping we need to do? Is all of our hardware in good shape?
Yeah.
Our code's in good shape? We don't have to go through and add any crazy comments or anything?
You can totally mess around with post into the chat.
Let's post something else.
Okay.
What's the guy's name? Is it Steve?
Mm-hmm.
So let's yell something at Steve.
Let's yell, "Hello."
Hello, Steve. There you go.
Okay. So now we're going to save it.
Will it run without saving it?
Let's try that on our next one.
Okay.
And then we're going to run it. Yep.
Now, there's something I always think is really important, and that is understanding what happens when things break, right? We already saw a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But what if we didn't do this right? What if, because that's not right now.
Let's try to run it without that.
Okay. Okay, let's look at what it's telling us now. It says trace back, which says you did something wrong. It's telling you what file you did it wrong in, where it says file home pi minecraft live.py. It's telling you what line you're wrong in, line 4. And it's saying syntax error, unexpected end of file while parsing. Excuse me. So this says, hey, you forgot something. And it's actually telling you not just possibly what you forgot, but where exactly. So we can re-add this. Oops. We can re-add this. And it'll run, right? And we could also make this error on a different line just to try. Now it's telling us, no, it's the same thing. It thinks it's erroring on the other one, on line 4 still. So how do we change this so that it will let us save? Save. Maybe this is why saving is so important in here. Although it does still tell us that. Oh, this is cool. Actually, what it's doing. I've never used this IDE before. You scoot forward a little so you're actually in the shot. They don't need to see just our demo board. Do you see what it's doing there where it says syntax error? It's got the pointer, right? And it's actually saying that the error is in the mc.post-to-chat, but that's because it never completed the line. It never completes line 3. You see that? Mm-hmm. So it's something to be aware of when it's trying to finish out there. Okay?
Okay, so we fixed that.
Let's run it. Everything should be good.
Now it worked.
Okay. So can you clear now our shell, our debugger?
And also, so you'll notice that when we hit run, it's also saying hello world. So if we just wanted it to say hello Steve, we can delete this.
You can even, it's actually pretty good practice to do that. If we have things that are separate, that need to be kind of seen separately, put one space or one line between them.
And now if we hit run, it just says hello Steve.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have one more thing to share with you today before we resume tomorrow.
Totally.
And what is our next thing?
So our next thing is, I am up here on this little hill, and I want to just go somewhere random. And so I want to teleport there.
But you can leave hello Steve there.
So
we can yell at Steve while we're teleporting.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So what we have to do first is we have to find the player's position. So we want to say X, Y, Z equals, space, equals MC dot player dot get POS, so position. But we actually have to capitalize.
I was going to let you fail at that too.
I'm
Great.
smarter than you.
You're not smart. No, that's not what I mean.
I outsmarted you that time. So now X, Y, and Z contain, X, Y, and Z are all coordinates when you're trying to find coordinates on a 3D plane.
Okay.
So that's gonna find our position. So we can hit save, run.
Okay.
And it says hello Steve.
Can I show you something cool? Check this out. You can stay where you are. Python is really cool about this. So on the next line, we can do this. Print X. Oops, I don't need that. X. I think we can do it like this.
And so now, if we save it and we run it,
hey, look at that.
These are the coordinates that I currently am.
You can also see those up in the top left corner of the Minecraft window, which is
it'll
also
say
pretty cool.
Position 3, 1, 2, 1, 5. Yeah. So now I want to teleport. Should we teleport?
Let's do it. Let's make sure that we follow good coding practice here, though. Okay. And like we talked about before, these are really separate actions. So let's keep them separated by one, one row. No. Okay. Yeah. Do your thing.
So
Coder.
we need to find the position again to teleport. Even though we've already found it, we just still need to find it again. So we're gonna do the.
We don't actually.
Oh, we don't?
No, because once we've done that, X, Y, and Z now, until we tell them that they're going to be something else, X is always going to be the X coordinates, Y is always going to be the Y coordinates, Z is always going to be the Z coordinates.
Okay, so now we can just go right to teleporting. We can say MC dot player dot set position, and we always have to do the end parentheses.
Is that all we do? Don't we have to tell it?
Okay, and then we have to go into the parentheses. And we have to say we can keep X and Y the same. Actually, let's change the Y. So we'll say Y plus
100?
let's go 100.
Yeah, why not?
And then we can keep Z the same.
Can we teleport like up into the sky?
Y is gonna make us go up into the sky.
Sweet.
So
Yes, it would, wouldn't it?
so now when we run it, we're now in the sky.
Can you pull that window? Can you pull that window in so that our viewers can see? You see, we're having a little trouble, I think, with our window. We're going to have to sort out these problems. Can you pull it more underneath the IDE? Is it possible? Perfect.
So
hopefully
it's right here, and I'll actually make it big.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna hit run, and you'll see we go straight into the sky.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then if we want to look down when we're in the sky, can't run again. Wait, no. Oh, no, we were. Yeah, so we...
So now we just teleported. So
Yeah.
we can instantly go anywhere we want.
Yeah,
With
we
code.
just have to know the coordinates.
The
of where we
coordinates.
want
But if we wanted to jump ahead, like if we wanted to jump forward 100 spaces or 100, a value of 100, can you show how we would modify the code to do that?
we would take out the Y because we don't want to change the Y anymore.
Okay.
And we would go to X. And
So
you would say
is plus.
let's go 20.
Okay.
So now it's gonna teleport us 20 spaces towards the X-axis.
Okay.
And now I'll save the oops.
Oops. Just hit cancel.
We'll run it.
Hmm.
I think we just teleported into a wall.
Do it again. Run it again.
Now we're out. Look, we just teleported through that hill. We just teleported through this hill right here.
Amazing. Which is also something that you couldn't do unless you were coding this, right?
Yeah. Like I couldn't just walk into this hill, but if I wanted to, I could stand right in front of the hill and just hit run, and now we're in the hill.
Very cool.
Now I can
Better get out of the hill.
Yeah. So let's change our. Let's take this and CtrlSee. Control-V.
Coincidentally, that's the name of my YouTube channel, is CtrlSee.
Oh yeah. Cool. So we're gonna run it and run. Hey, I did that just right.
Amazing. Okay, so why don't you take us through a bit of it's 11:38 right now.
Yeah. So
Why don't you take us through a bit of a recap of what we've done here?
Okay. So at first we started off with.
Well, let's start with the hardware,
Yeah,
just like we did before.
So
Raspberry Pi 3, nothing special about it. We had a pre-built SD card that has the Raspbian Buster desktop version. It's available on raspberrypi.org. We connected this with a micro USB to a power source, and this actually we're using a power over Ethernet switch, but we'll get into WAGO stuff some other time. We've got an HDMI cable connected to our TV here. We've got the Ethernet connected, and we've got a USB mouse and a USB keyboard. And nothing else special going on here. Pretty straightforward. So that's our hardware.
We've got just a keyboard and a mouse. There's literally nothing special about them.
It's a pretty cool keyboard.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool keyboard. I like the mouse because it lights up.
So we set this up originally to we opened Minecraft Pi, which is part of the standard operating system.
Yeah, it comes on the Pi already.
On the Pi, as does this Thonny Python editor.
This Pi we hadn't done anything on for a really long time.
We intentionally started fresh.
Yeah.
And then we went through just some simple code example here. So what do we want to do tomorrow?
So tomorrow we're going to run you guys through placing blocks. We'll probably...
Let's pay attention to our audience.
We'll probably build something really big with TNT and blow up the world.
Are we going to blow it up tomorrow?
Let's blow it up at the end. Let's have that be our finale tomorrow.
I love it.
Okay. And we'll probably maybe try to build just a big cube out of stone and hollow it out for a house, maybe. We can try it and see if we can code it to hollow itself out.
All right, let's set our goals at that, right? Let's not.
So we're just
not
gonna.
overcommit.
So tomorrow we're placing blocks.
Okay, so this is going to be available to rewatch if you get stuck. I know we're learning how to do this too, but we've had a lot of fun getting it set up, right?
Yeah.
Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them in the chat. What else?
Have fun.
Have fun. That's right.
This doesn't have to be like a competition. It can just be fun.
Agreed. It can just be fun.
Also, if you're playing Minecraft with your friends, you can teleport into a hill and they can never find you.
Also that. Okay, well, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to be back tomorrow at the same time. So, signing off.
Yeah.
Hey, where'd you go? You got to come say some YouTube thing to the camera.
I can say it to this camera.
You can't because it's
not
on there.
It's not.
Aren't you supposed to say, hey guys, signing off. Please like and subscribe.
I mean, you don't have to, but you can.
You probably should though.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks for joining.